everyone, and welcome to the In-Depth Genealogist Chit Chat Live. For this week, we are having an interview session with Jean Hibben, and she is the owner of Genealogy Journeys, along with Gina Phillips Ortega, and they do Genealogy Cruises to Mexico. But first, let me introduce our executive director with IDG. Hi, Terry.
Hey, Beth, how are you?
I'm good. How are you doing?
Doing well.
Good. And here she is, the star of the interview today is Jean Hibben. Hi, Jean. Welcome.
Hi. Thank you very much for having me.
Well, it's good to have you finally. I've been wanting to do this forever. So it's good to finally have you. We're missing Gina.
Yeah. I'm sorry about that. She's doing one of those genealogy journeys, not on the water, but on land.
Yeah. But that's good too. Sometimes you have to, well, we won't go into how I want to be on land, but we'll talk about that later on. But you have Genealogy Journeys, and people can find you at Jean, Jean. I'm sorry, Gina, Gena, and Jean, JEAN.blogspot.com. And don't worry, folks, we'll have the URL down at the bottom below the video. But these cruises to Mexico are this year being arranged by Terry, and her website is o'connelltravel.com. Correct, Terry?
Yep.
And we'll put that URL down below, as well as maybe anything else that Jean shares with us today. My first question is, how did you get started? How long have you been doing this from the time you got the idea to today? But what got you started in genealogy at sea and doing cruises?
Well, Gina and I did our first journey on land. We did a tour of California up through along the coast, and then we went inland and did a bunch of different presentations. And both of us at that time were on the staff of Genealogy Roadshow. And so we stopped off in San Francisco when they were filming up there and participated in that. And we discovered that actually we like spending time together. And by the end of the trip, we didn't hate each other. And in spite of the fact that I do talk in my sleep, she finds it humorous enough that she doesn't come over and kick me. So this has worked out okay. These are, people laugh at that, but you can't get along with your partner. You can't share a room with a partner. It can get pretty expensive buying two of those hotel rooms.
Absolutely.
So we started doing some other traveling together. We a couple of times and done SLIG. We've done some classes together up there. We've done other small trips here and there, and found that we have a lot of the same interests, but take different perspectives. So when we present together, we work really well. We bounce off of each other, I guess you'd say it. And both of us have sort of a humorous approach to genealogy. And I've had, one or two people say, why are you, making fun of this? And I said, well, we're not making fun. It's just that we're talking about dead people. And after a while, it can get rather macabre. So sometimes we find that looking at some of the funny things that have happened in our ancestors' lives can give people a little chuckle and keeps them awake. So because we have a very similar presentation style, people will book us together to do a seminar or whatever, and find that the people that attend enjoy both of us as opposed to just one person on the docket, shall we say. So anyway, we started doing that, and my husband really loves cruises, and I don't. I don't hate them, but I'm not one of those people that says, "Oh, goody, I get to go on a vacation. Let's go on a cruise." But I've noticed that a lot of genealogists do like to go cruising, and there are some larger cruises. FGS has a cruise. There's Legacy Cruises. There are a few others, and they generally leave from some places that are not Southern California. They are maybe up out of Seattle or up out of Vancouver, or they might be out of Florida somewhere. And we've had people come up to us and talk to us saying, you know, these cruises sound like they're a lot of fun, but the cruise itself is over a week long, plus it takes us X amount of dollars and X amount of time to get to these locations. One of them I remember was leaving out of Australia, and this one woman came to me. She says, "There's not a chance I could afford that." And I think that when we look at the large amount of genealogists are going to say that same thing. Yes, it sounds like fun. Yes, it sounds like something I could learn a lot from, but I don't have the money or I don't have the time, and or both. And so we started, throwing that around. And like I said, my husband likes cruises, and one day we were just sort of sitting around visiting, and my husband Butch, he said, "Well, what I really think you ladies ought to do is you should host a cruise." And Gina just jumped on that, right off the bat. That's what we should do. Okay. Oh my goodness sakes. So at that moment, it was 2 against 1, and I really didn't oppose it, but I wasn't sure that it would work. But as we started promoting it, we had a lot of people saying, "Well, this is just what I wanted to do. I wanted to do something short. I still wanted to get the education. I wanted to go someplace that was sort of interesting, but I didn't want to spend a whole ton of money." And so we were able to meet a need that no other group so far has been able to do. And in fact, most people don't want to, because most of the friends we have that like doing the cruising really do enjoy going to the exotic places. And I'm not that particularly interested. If I'm going to fly out of the country to go do something, I'd rather go to Germany and do research than get on a ship and go someplace. So
right. I can relate.
Kind of how
I can relate.
So that's sort of how it all got going. The name itself just sort of it just sort of popped into our minds, I think, almost at the same time. We were trying to find something to go with genealogy, with Gina and Jean and all the J sounds. And so I started coming up with things like a genealogy jaunt, and she said, "No, I don't think so." And I said, "Well, how about genealogy junket?" And she said, "No, not that." And then all of a sudden we both said, "Journey, what is wrong with us?" So we not only grabbed the name, we did a little research, and we trademarked it. So Genealogy Journeys is a trademark name, because we figured grab it if we don't.
Right.
So we did that process last year.
Well, it fit perfectly, because you said you were doing Genealogy Journeys together on land. And so that seemed like instantly just now when you were talking about it, that seemed like an perfect title for it. So great.
Yeah, it's working for us because of the GJ, and our logo has the GJ on it. We hired a young budding artist who was just brilliant with her work, and she gave us about 20 designs to choose from. And so we selected one, copyrighted it, and
that's awesome.
Now we're a real, almost a business here. Now, if we could make money too, we'd really be in good shape.
So when was your first cruise? Because that was talking about how you got started and the thought process and idea. But from that point in time, how long was it when you did your first cruise, and when was that first cruise?
cruise actually was in July of 2015, and I think our discussion about it started the prior September or October, and so we didn't have a lot of time to put it together, and it filled, I won't say really quickly because we had to get the word out to people, but after people went on the first cruise, they got the word out to others. And so we've got, in fact, we have one couple of ladies are coming on their third trip with us, and this is our third trip. We did November 2017, and then 2016 and November of this year. The first year going in July, we wanted to avoid hurricane season. That was one of the things that was a priority. And then the other thing was we wanted to have it at a time when the prices would be as affordable as possible. And we discovered that July was not it. Too many people are going to Mexico in July, and we wanted to extend it. We had 3 days the first time, so this time we have 4 days. And we had 4 days last year. And so we found that the November, it fits in between Halloween for those who are Halloweening and Thanksgiving. It doesn't disturb the Thanksgiving holiday. And it's after the hurricane season, and the prices are low. So we took all these things into consideration. And we have had people say, well, you know, gee, if you went at a different time of the year. We said, yeah, and it would be double the price.
Mm-hmm.
They said,
and why do I
want? Let's go in November.
And why do I want to go when it's nice and summery? I want to get out of the frozen tundra in southern Minnesota and the Midwest and go when it's, you know, crazy cold, you know, somewhere else.
We have people coming from Texas and from Colorado, I noticed this year. Of
Ohio?
Course, most of those people, where?
From Ohio as well.
Where else?
Ohio?
Oh, that's right, Ohio. Right, yeah. Most of the people that come from out of the area are people who are either our sponsors. We've got a couple of sponsors coming, or they have a relative in Southern California who's planning on going. One woman had her daughters come, and one of them on the first or second trip, and their daughters lived in different parts of the country, and so they got together, and so that's generally what we have found, is that most of the people that come from out of the area are not people that have been following us diligently. It's because somebody has said, come go on a trip with me, and they've said, okay. Yeah. But you know, also in November, the weather in Southern California is pretty good. We haven't started our rainy season. So when people are in other parts of the country and it's beginning to get on the chilly side, they've already watched the leaves turn, and now it's just all bare branches. Southern California sounds like a pretty nice place to go for a few days, and we have a few things here for people to see.
Exactly.
So I send out a little note and say, hey, here are the hours at Disneyland, and here's where to get good passes for various things. So I send that information out before we go. So if people want to arrange for some other things, they can do that in advance.
Yeah. That's hysterical, because I was just in my head thinking, if I do this, I could get to Disneyland.
Yes, you could. And if you happen to be
easy too.
If you happen to be military, because when we come back, it is Veterans Day weekend. There are a ton of places that give discounts or free. Knott's Berry Farm is free for military and spouses all through the month of November. So
that's nice.
We push that too.
That's nice. Yeah.
So you go in November for a 4-day cruise. You start out, you know, you leave out of Southern California, and then you return back to the same port, correct?
Right.
Yeah,
okay. It's Long Beach.
Okay. And then tell us, we got about 16.5 minutes, but don't worry, you know, if we go over a little bit, you know, Terry's not going to whip me with a wet noodle. But tell me, when do you do the sessions, and when you're out at sea, and what happens when you're at any port? If I'm taking you stop at ports and stuff. So tell us a little bit about, when you do the sessions and when you don't.
Well, each time it's been different. So we never really know exactly what's going to happen, because the cruise line dictates what region of the ship we can meet in and what equipment we can use. And so they pretty much tell us, yes, you can do this, but no, you can't do that, or you have to be out of here by 4:30 because we have a thing starting at 5 or something like that. So we are at their mercy, but we try to arrange things as much in advance as possible. And what we had discovered this last time, both Gina and I gave 4 presentations each, and what we do is a couple of months beforehand, we send out the list of the presentations that we'll be willing to do. So we generally send out a list of about 8 to 10 presentations and ask the people that are interested in coming to them to please put down their first, second, and third choices. And then my husband, who is a genius with a computer, puts it all into some kind of a program and says, okay, here's what you're going to be doing based on the popularity of the different presentations. And we try to have things that have not been done to death. I mean, Gina and I both have some of our presentations that we've done so many times. We generally don't put those in the hopper as a possibility. So last time we each had a day. She did four on one day, and I did 4 on another day. And I tend to take the one when we're in Ensenada, because I don't really care about going into Ensenada. I've been there, and it's interesting. And I wouldn't tell people, don't go if you've never been, but I've been, and once was enough. So I present while we were in port, and she presented while we were at sea. It was intense because in the middle of things, we have lunch, and people could go get their lunch and bring it down, or they could, go sit on the fantail or whatever. But we'd also have some other people that had some things to offer, and so we had sort of a couple of impromptu things. And my husband did a presentation on technology. And those 2 days are over, even though there was a day in the middle for enjoying Catalina. Pretty overwhelmed with information. And we talked about it and said, if instead of trying to do 4 each, we each do 3, and do 3 one morning, and then repeat them on a different day in the afternoon. And that way, if people want to go to port, they can work their schedule, so they can still go on an excursion in port, or they can go shopping or whatever they want to do in Ensenada, or Catalina is the other place we go to. And so this is what we're doing this year, is we are doing each presentation twice, but we're only doing 3 each, which also takes a little bit of a burden off of us.
Right.
And we have a couple of people that are on board that are going to do some additional extra things. We have one of our sponsors is going to be doing a beginning DNA, pretty much to answer people's questions when they know nothing about it. She's not going to try to read people's DNA results. She's there to explain it to folks.
Right. That's
including
good.
the people that maybe aren't genealogists. So.
Mm-hmm. That's good, because it's such a popular topic, or a more important topic too.
And Gina and I, neither of us address it, so it's good to have somebody willing to do that. And so she's going to do that. Her name is Sarah Cochran, and she's like I said, she's one of our sponsors, and we're glad that she's going to do that and do it for free. So. We'll probably buy her a drink card or something. Not for alcoholic drinks. It'll be the soft drinks.
Yeah. Good.
For those who don't know about cruising, when you get on a ship, you can buy a drink card that gives you unlimited drinks for the duration of the cruise. The one for soft drinks is significantly less expensive than the one for alcoholic drinks.
Yeah, I bet.
For those who don't know that.
It's funny. Some of the questions that have come to my way Or how much liquor can I bring on board? Can I bring
how much what?
liquor?
Oh, yeah, we're going out of the country. You have to declare things when you come back, and I'm not sure about how you would do that.
So with Carnival, you can bring a bottle of wine. I believe it was 750 milliliters. It was, the largest bottle, but you could not bring hard liquor. You can also bring your own soda in the cans in like a 12-pack. I think it was a 12-pack per person. Some of the questions have been so funny.
Oh, my husband might be interested in that one. He's a Diet Coke drinker. Drives me nuts.
Exactly. I need my Pepsi. I will die without it.
And I'm a water drinker. That's all I drink is essentially is water. So I'm a cheap date.
But that's good. So people can ask those questions about, the technical side of the cruise or the cruise side of it, and with Terry, and then the genealogy side of it through Jean and Gina. And you do podcasts, correct, Jean, so that you can get out the word and different information. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Our podcasts deal with social history. So we take a subject, the next subject that we're taking a couple of weeks off because Gina had this trip to do. But the next topic that we're going to do is we're going to talk a little bit about the moonwalk, and then talks about some of the Native American legends about moon, and I don't know, talk about moon songs. I don't know. We'll tie it into genealogy somehow. And then we'll talk about women's suffrage next, because that's got an anniversary next month in August. But we've talked about essentially everything from newspapers to underwear. And the underwear presentation could have gone on for easily 2 hours. It was absolutely fascinating. But we talk about those things, and then we have an advertisement in the middle. And that is one of our cruise sponsors. So we have a number of people who have put forth a little bit of money to sponsor us, and then we take their literature and take it to the various presentations that we're doing and seminars and things like that, and distribute their literature to people. And we do a blog post for each one of our sponsors. So we get their names out there also. And a lot of the newer companies and genealogists that are just now hanging out their shield are sponsors of ours, and hopefully they're getting some business from it. You never know, and sometimes the business is a while down the road before it comes. I've got a list of people to contact about certain things, but it may be 2 years before I do that.
Right. So,
anyway.
And below the video here, Terry will put the URLs that we talked about, but for the podcast is genjourneys.podbean.com, and all of your podcasts are there, right?
Yeah, they're all there in a format so that people can just read down the list and see what, if they don't want to read about the history of bicycles, not read, but listen to us talk about the history of bicycles, then they can skip that one. But on the blog, because we blog about our sponsors, and we blog about some of the things we're doing, and we blog about a variety of things, our podcasts are sort of buried on the blog. So it's easier to go right to Podbean, and then they can download them onto their whatever device things they listen to stuff on. You can tell how technical I am.
That's a cool idea. I'm gonna have to get in the car with my son to head back to Minnesota on Thursday from his house in Kansas, and I can download your podcasts on my phone.
Get the serial one.
Yeah.
Make sure you get the serial one. The serial one is that's a gem.
Yeah. That way.
Cereal. Who would have thought?
Well, anyone that is into cookbooks like Gina.
There you go.
Well, I'm into the music. She's into cooking, and so between the two of us, I found a book once that was a cookbook that had songs in it. And the two of us are staring at it, and we both want this book. I forfeited. I gave it to her. Anyway.
I know. I really, really, really want my grandma's cookbook, but someone else in the family has it. And so, but I know that she wrote, besides recipes, you know, there's the shortage of paper and stuff. She wrote all kinds of things in the margins or off to the side or in the front and inside cover. And I wouldn't be surprised if she's got recipes in there for homemade cereal of some kind.
And we talked a little bit about that, but most of it we talked about was Kellogg's. And anyone that knows anything about the history of Kellogg's will pick up on that right away. And if you don't, listen to the cereal podcast.
Really, that's a great idea. I got to do that. Do that. And real quick, because I want to get this in. Like me, I'm sure there are many others that get car sick on the back of the bicycle, motorcycle, whatever the motion is. And so that has really put up a wall for me. You know, I would love to go, you know, to these places. I'm always saying, well, I want to be in the water, not on it. So how would you convince me? And of course, I know obviously the value I've heard and seen you at SLIG and through APG, the Association of Professional Genealogists and so forth. And I love both you guys and whatever presentation you give. And so I know the value of that, but how would you get someone like me away from that? Oh, I can't get on the water.
Well, remember I said at the very beginning is that I'm not one to jump on a cruise ship because I have the opportunity. If a person says to me, I really do not want to go on the water, I would hand them a list of the presentations that we're giving elsewhere. And I mean, I know that I'm not trying to talk the person out of it, but I tell you, I get motion sickness with microfilms. So if I'm looking at a microfilm, I have to take Dramamine before I look at the microfilm. I make sure it's a non-drowsy one, or otherwise I'll be falling asleep on the reader.
Exactly, or when you're rewinding it, I have to look away. I can't look. Yeah,
I have to look away, or I turn the light off when I rewind.
But I'm thinking this is a short cruise.
I take Dramamine on it when I go. I take the non-drowsy, and then at night I'll take one of the drowsy ones, and that way I am sure to get to sleep and get enough sleep, because we have to get going, you know, pretty early in the morning to get everything set up. But you know, if people don't respond well to that, or they have an allergy to meclizine, which is the main ingredient of Dramamine or Bonine or any one of those, there are patches, but those patches are not cheap. There are little acupressure devices, and I've heard some people say they're wonderful. Other people say they don't work at all. Everybody is different, and I don't want anyone coming and being miserable. It's no fun to go there and be in your room the whole time because you can't stand up because you're feeling that motion.
Green.
Yeah. Well, we want people to enjoy it. The whole idea is to have a good time. The last day on our last cruise, we hit, I don't know what we did, but it was the first time in those 3 trips that I couldn't keep my dinner. I couldn't eat my dinner. And the crew is wonderful about these things. And the waiter came over, he says, would you like something different to eat? Because he'd noticed I hadn't touched anything. And I said, I just can't, I don't want to put anything in the stomach. And within seconds, he was back with a ginger ale for me, you know. So they're used to people that go through this. So and almost anybody can if the seas are really rough, which, like I said, is why we choose the time we do.
Yeah,
but I don't want people to be uncomfortable.
Being short, you know, 4 days, and you take, you know, Dramamine or do the patches and what, Terry, you said that you just put them right here.
There's difference. My mom had one that I believe went like right there, behind your ear.
By your ear. Okay. Because I really, you know, everybody says that has done cruises, especially the genealogy cruises, how much fun it is, what a great time. And it's like, but, you know, that's what I was excited to see, that you have a shorter cruise and it's from Southern California. So I could also go there and see family and friends, you know, either before or after. Yeah.
Let me
Disneyland.
add some. One of the things, the way my husband explains it, is it's like going to a seminar or a conference. You don't have a whole variety of people to choose from as far as speakers. You got Gina and me, and then sometimes a guest. But most of the people that come are people that have been following us in some cases for a number of years. But you don't have to. If you've gone to a conference and had the banquet meal and tried to cut the meat, you get the best food on cruises. So you've got good food whenever you want it. If you're hungry in the middle of the day, they've got food out there in the middle of the day. It's fabulous. So you have some comforts that you don't have at a conference, and we are at a little bit slower pace, so you're not trying to race from one thing to another. And if you want to go back to your room and lie down, you can. Try that at a conference.
Right.
And you won't be disrupted by any vendors because there aren't any allowed to be on there.
Well, thank you so much. The big bad, monster here is gonna go off. I'm not the baddie, I use the timer. So okay, I put that on hold. But thank you so much, Jean, because we needed to go in depth on what Genealogy Cruises are, and you've convinced me to take that step. To take that dip. And
well, I want you to know that the people that take these cruises are the most fun. Our tables are the ones that are laughing like crazy, and people are telling their family stories to people who care, and that's kind of cool.
You know what? I will second that. Just with talking to everybody, getting to know some of these people has been an absolute riot.
Well, yeah. Oh, yeah. I know we've, at either APG board meetings or afterwards or at SLIG and stuff, it's such a fun time. And I really enjoy, have enjoyed. I miss you not being on the board anymore.
Oh, thank you. I appreciate that. I miss the board, but it got to the point where I had a bit of an illness, vestibular issue, which really made the last cruise interesting.
I bet. Yeah. But there'll be another time. There'll be another time. Yeah. But thank you so much again. I really appreciate it. Give Gina a big hug when you see her, talk to her. And Terry, do you have anything you want to add at the end?
I just look forward to seeing everybody in November. I think I'm gonna get this booked. I've been on my kid, and today she said okay, so I'm gonna get it booked.
All right.
Well, good.
Excellent. Well, look forward to seeing you, and thank you very much for giving us this spotlight.
Yeah. Well, thank you, Jean. And you have safe travels. And everyone, if you have any questions, feel free to drop us a line below in the comments or in a short email to info@theinDepthGenealogist.com. Follow us on Twitter, like us on Facebook. I don't think there's any way that you can't get in touch with anyone from IDG. So, and get in touch with Jean and ask them about the upcoming cruise and see if they've got a cabin open and ready for you. Right?
All right. Sounds good. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. Thank you. And remember, everyone, go in depth with all of your ancestors. Bye-bye.